This is an instructional video on multiplying while in scientific notation. So just like as we were adding and subtracting while in scientific notation, we're going to do the same steps for multiplying in scientific notation. We're going to type the entire problem in on the calculator exactly as it is written, including the parentheses. So we start by typing in parentheses 5.78 times 10 raised to the 5th power. Remember, our little exponent looks like this on the right-hand side. And then close your parentheses. Times parentheses 8.04 times 10 raised to the negative 2nd power. Close parentheses. And we get the answer of 4647.1.2. Now, this answer is not in scientific notation. We want to take the decimal point, we want to move it till it's behind the first number, meaning we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 times. When we write our final answer, we write it as 4.64712. Always write times 10 and then to the 4th power. Now, even though there's no multiplication symbol in the middle here of this problem, we can still know that parentheses means multiply, so we know we're still multiplying, even though there's no actual symbol in the problem. We type it in exactly as we see it with the parentheses. So 1.5 times 10 raised to the 5th power, and make sure to close the parentheses, times parentheses 5 times 10 raised to the 3rd power, and again close the parentheses at the end. And the calculator gives us the answer of 75 followed by 7 zeros. When we want to actually write the final answer, our decimal point is here at the very end. We want to move it till it is behind the first number. And so we have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. When we write the final answer, we write it as 7.5. We do not write the zeros. Times 10 to the 8th power. Stalactites are cone-shaped formations that hang from the ceilings of underground caverns. Stalactites can grow at the rate of about 0.005 inch per year. At this rate, what is the length of a stalactite that grows for 7.5 times 10 to the 4th years? Typically, whenever you see the word per is going to mean to multiply. So we are going to multiply the two numbers, 0.005 times the other number, 7.5 times 10 to the 4th. So when we type it in the calculator, 0.005 times 7.5 times 10 raised to the 4th power. Again, we use parentheses even though they're not written in the problem. And we get the answer of 375. This answer is not in scientific notation. The decimal is currently here at the end. We want to move it till it is behind the first number, meaning we have to go 1, 2 places. So when we write the final answer, we write it as 3.75 times 10 to the 2nd power. The thickness of a US penny is 5.98 times 10 to the negative 2nd inch. What is the height of a stack of 2.5 times 10 to the 4th pennies? So typically, if you are going from 1 to many, that is going to mean to multiply. So in this case, we are going from 1 penny to a stack of pennies. We're going from 1 to many. So we're going to multiply the two numbers together. 5.98 times 10 to the negative 2nd. Again, we put it in parentheses. Times the second number, 2.5 times 10 to the 4th. Again, also in parentheses. When we type it in the calculator, we still have to use our parentheses. Typing it in exactly as we see it. And the calculator gives us the answer of 1495. This answer is not in scientific notation. The decimal point is here at the very end behind the 5. We want it to be behind the first number 1. And so we have to move it 1, 2, 3 times. When we write it, the final answer, we write it as 1.495 times 10 to the third power. The speed of light is about 1.86 times 10 to the fifth miles per second. How many miles will light travel in 4,200,000 seconds? So again, this is going from 1 second to many seconds. When you're going from 1 to many, it means multiply. Also, we see the word per. Per means multiply. So we're going to multiply 1.86 times 10 to the fifth. Remember, we write it with parentheses, times the other number, 4,200,000. We type the whole problem in on the calculator just as it is written with the parentheses and everything. And the calculator does give us this answer in scientific notation as 7.812 times 10 to the 11th power. Now the calculator gave us this answer in scientific notation because the full answer did not fit on the calculator screen. This will occasionally happen, and that is okay. Find the area of the rectangle in scientific notation. To find area, you have to multiply the length times the width. The length is the long side, the width is the short side. So we're going to multiply 5.4 times 10 to the fifth. Again, we write it with parentheses, times the width, 275,000. We type the entire problem in on the calculator exactly as it is written, even with the parentheses. And again, the calculator gives it to us in scientific notation, 1.485 times 10 to the 11th power. Again, this happens when the problem is too large to fit on the screen. If Kelly's heart beats an average of 1 times 10 to the second times per minute, about how many times does Kelly's heart beat in a year? Hint, 1 year is 525,600 minutes. So we are going from 1 minute to that many minutes. 1 to many means multiply, as does the keyword here, per. So we're going to multiply our two numbers together, 1 times 10 to the second, and the second number, 525,600 minutes. Remember, we write them in parentheses. Even if it's not in the word problem, we still write it with parentheses. And we type the entire problem in on the calculator exactly as we have written. When we do that, the calculator gives us the answer of 5256, followed by 4 zeros. To write the answer in scientific notation, the decimal is currently here at the end. We want to move it to the front behind the first number. And so we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 place values. So when we write the final answer, we write it as 5.256. We do not write the zeros, times 10 to the 7th power. Mark studied a group of 30 whales. If each whale weighed approximately 3.8 times 10 to the 5th pounds, find the total weight of all 30 whales. So again, we're going from one whale, because one whale weighs 3.8 times 10 to the 5th, to figuring out 30 whales. So again, going from 1 to many means multiply. So we're going to multiply our two numbers, 3.8 times 10 to the 5th, we write it in parentheses, and we multiply it by the second number, 30. When we type it in on the calculator, we type the entire problem in parentheses. And the calculator gives us the answer of 114, followed by 5 zeros. This answer is not in scientific notation, so we have to take the decimal point that's at the end, and we're going to move it to the front behind the first number. So we have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 place values. When we write the final answer, we write it as 1.14. We do not write the zeros. Times 10, always times 10, and raised to the 7th power. Light travels at approximately 2.998 times 10 to the 5th kilometers per second. There are 6.048 times 10 to the 5th seconds in 1 week. About how many kilometers does light travel in 1 week? So again, we have the word per. And so we are moving from seconds to weeks. We're going from a few seconds to many seconds. There's lots of seconds in a week. So we are going to multiply our two numbers. Starting with the first one, 2.998 times 10 to the 5th. We write that in parentheses. Times the second number, 6.048 times 10 to the 5th. Again, writing that in parentheses. And then we type the entire problem in on the calculator exactly as it is written, with all parentheses and all numbers. When we do that, the calculator gives us the answer of 1.8131904 times 10 to the 11th power. The calculator gave us the answer in scientific notation because the actual answer was too large to fit on the calculator screen. This will sometimes happen, and that is okay.